Kit Harington breaks silence on Jon Snow spinoff. Full details. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you love House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and deep dives into Westerosi lore. Let's begin. My watch has ended. That was the final line Jon Snow delivered in Game of Thrones. But for Kit Harington and millions of fans, the story was far from over. And now, years later, the silence is finally broken. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we dive into the headline that shook the realm. Kit Harington finally opens up about the long-rumored Jon Snow spinoff, now officially titled Snow. What did Kit say? What does it mean for the future of Game of Thrones? And why is this series more personal to him than any role he's ever played? Stay with us for the full breakdown. From exclusive details to fan reactions, story possibilities, and why Snow might just be HBO's boldest move since the Iron Throne melted. Let's begin. The silence was deafening. For over 3 years since Game of Thrones ended in 2019, fans wondered, would we ever see Jon Snow again? Speculation ran wild after the finale, especially when Jon was last seen traveling beyond the wall with the free folk. It didn't feel like an ending. It felt like a new beginning. Then, in mid-2022, reports began to surface. A Jon Snow spinoff was in development. But nothing was confirmed until Kit Harington himself broke the silence. In an appearance at the official Game of Thrones convention, Kit shocked fans when he addressed Snow publicly for the first time. We're working on it. We're developing something. But it has to be the right story, or it's not worth doing. Boom. That one sentence ignited a wildfire across the fandom. Because this wasn't just a cameo. This wasn't a rumor. This was Kit himself, the man who is Jon Snow, confirming that Snow is real and personal. Why now? So why did Kit wait so long to talk about Snow? Why is he speaking now? Insiders close to the project say the timing was everything. After House of the Dragon launched in 2022 and became a hit, HBO felt confident expanding the universe. But they didn't want to oversaturate the franchise. Each spinoff had to have a soul. And Snow? That came from Kit Harington himself. Yes, unlike other spinoffs, Snow was Kit's idea. He pitched it to HBO. It wasn't just about continuing Jon's story. It was about exploring trauma, exile, and identity, one HBO source shared. Kit didn't come in with a money grab. He came in with something raw. That's when fans started taking it seriously. If the actor most burned by Season 8 still wanted to return, then maybe Snow was more than just nostalgia. It was unfinished business. To understand Kit's connection to Snow, we need to rewind. Not to the wall, but to real life. After Game of Thrones ended, Kit went through a dark period. Fame, stress, and mental health issues overwhelmed him. In 2019, he entered rehab. I went through some things after Thrones, things I'm still dealing with, Kit said in an emotional interview. For him, Jon Snow wasn't just a role. It was a burden and a mirror, playing the character for nearly a decade, watching him rise, die, return, fall in love, and kill that love. It left emotional scars. Kit described Jon in the final season as a man deeply broken, someone who doesn't want to live anymore. And yet, instead of burying that story, Kit decided to face it head-on. There's more to tell. What happens when a man who gave everything is sent to live with himself? That is the heart of Snow. Not war, not thrones, not dragons. But identity, healing, redemption. Kit's journey and Jon's journey have become one. And that's why Snow is happening. What Kit revealed. So what exactly did Kit reveal about Snow? Let's break it down. 1. It's in development. Not guaranteed. Kit confirmed that Snow is in active development, but not officially greenlit yet. We're in the early stages. If it doesn't feel right, we won't do it. This means scripts are being written, stories mapped out, and possible casting discussed. But HBO is taking their time. 2. Kit is involved behind the scenes. He's not just acting. He's helping shape the narrative. This is a personal story. I'm involved creatively because I want Jon to be done right. 3. It will explore Jon's trauma. Kit emphasized that Snow will dig deep into Jon's psyche. When we leave him, he's not okay. He's carrying the weight of everything. Killing Dany, losing family, being exiled. That's a story worth telling. This isn't about epic battles. It's about the cost of being a hero. Once Kit's comments spread online, the fan reactions were overwhelming. Let's look at the three biggest categories. A. The supporters. Fans who stood by Jon Snow felt validated. At For the North Girl, KIT said, Jon isn't okay. Thank you. We needed that. Season 8 left him hollow. This show could bring him back to life. At Snow Stands Unite, this isn't fan service. This is Jon's therapy, and we're ready for it. These fans see Snow as a second chance, not just for Jon, but for Game of Thrones as a whole. B. The skeptics. Others remain cautious. At Burn the Scripts, cool, but I need new writers. Kit's passion is great, but if it's the same showrunners, count me out. At Queen Dany Lives, as long as they don't use Jon to erase what they did to Daenerys, fine. But don't act like he's the only one who suffered. This group wants accountability. They love Kit, but they want the story to do more than just clean up past mistakes. C. The curious newcomers. Interestingly, a new group is forming. Fans of House of the Dragon who never watched Game of Thrones, now interested in Jon Snow. I'm a HOTD fan. I just saw Jon's arc. I need to see what happens to him next. Dude got done dirty. This could be huge for HBO, pulling in new viewers through Snow. Now, based on Kit's comments, what kind of story can we expect from Snow? Let's explore the three most likely directions. Option 1. The Northern Survival Story. Jon lives with the free folk. He explores forgotten lands, frozen ruins, and ancient magics. He tries to find peace, but something wakes in the cold. A threat not seen since the long night. Think, The Revenant meets The Witcher. Option 2. The Return to Westeros. A political crisis forces Jon to return south, not as a king, but as a reluctant guide. Maybe Bran is missing. Maybe Sansa is under attack. Maybe the realm needs him again. Think, The Mandalorian, but in Westeros. The personal redemption arc. Jon must confront who he is, a Targaryen, a Stark, a killer, a savior. His past haunts him. Visions of Dany, dreams of the Night King, magic in his blood. Think, a dark, slow-burn, psychological journey. Less war, more myth. Snow could even mix all three, starting in the north, then slowly pulling Jon back into a new crisis. Whatever it becomes, one thing's clear. We're not doing Game of Thrones Season 9. We're doing Snow, Kit clarified. It's a different story. Who else could return? Will HBO greenlight Snow? Will we see Jon Snow rise from exile? Or will this story remain unfinished? Because if anyone deserves one more story, if you enjoyed this deep dive into Kit Harington's revelations and the future of Snow, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more epic breakdowns of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and the world of Ice and Fire. Let us know in the comments. What do you want to see in Snow? Should Arya return? Should Drogon come back? Should Jon ever forgive himself? Until next time, the North remembers.